Hi everyone! If you've watched the introductory video of this series, you will know that I'm going to dive into each of the 5 subtests of the Russian language exam TRKI for C1 level. And this is the video where I'm going to talk about the reading and the grammar tests, which are kind of the most straightforward ones. The reading exam is all multiple choice questions, and basically I think it's quite self-explanatory, so I'm not going to talk too long about this. But I think it's important to know about the genres of the texts that you're going to see in this exam. So the exam consists of 4 blocks of text that you're going to have to read and answer questions about. In the first 2 blocks, you're going to read a kind of journalistic text, which shouldn't be too difficult to understand if you're already at sort of B2 level. And the questions there are basically what you would kind of expect. So in the first block, you need to decide whether 10 statements are true or false according to the text. And then in the second block, you basically need to match questions to answers. So I'm not going to spend more time on those. Hopefully they will be quite self-explanatory. But I'm going to talk about the third block, which are basically paragraphs of quite legalistic texts, and they can be quite hard going. And it's also challenging because basically you are given a very short description and you need to find, out of 9 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs that kind of match that description. So for example, in this sample test, you are asked to find the paragraphs that talk about требования, предъявляемые к подчиненным. If you read the paragraphs, they are going to talk about the demands made on employees. So you might think, well, all of them talk about this, but you need to really think about which of those paragraphs are talking about the demands and not kind of about more general things about sort of working in a company, for example. So basically you need to pay very close attention to the wording and the meaning of the text. It might be a good idea to actually translate the paragraph word for word, because although there are only 3 questions, each of those questions are worth 15 points out of a total of 150, so it's 10% of the exam, so it's really important to get these questions right. So that's the third block. And in the fourth block, you get a literary text. So it's usually a short story. And this bit kind of also tests a bit more your ability to interpret and read between the lines. And basically, I would say that if you've not encountered sort of more literary text, Russian literature, before the exam, then I would recommend that you go read a few short stories by Chekhov or Pushkin, so you get used to the style. So now I'm going to talk about the grammar and vocabulary test. In this test, you're going to find 100 questions. 95 of those are multiple choice, and 5 are fill-in-the-blanks questions. So you basically need to fill in the correct word. The main advice I'm going to give is that you need to find the practice books and do the exercises in them. And there are 2 particularly useful books. One is called Testy. The other one is Учебно-тренировочные тесты по русскому языку для иностранцев, and especially the Grammatica Lexica book that they have in that series. And for the Testy, there there's one book for B2 level and another for C1, and I would recommend that you do both of them if you've not taken the B2 exam before, because there are many points in common with the B2 exam. So on this level, the examiners aren't interested in the basics of whether you can conjugate a verb or whether you can decline a noun correctly. So it's really drilling into the very detail of grammar and intricacies of the language. So for example, you might be asked, what is the correct way to say the mirror broke into small pieces? Is it зеркало разбилось на маленькие кусочки, в маленькие кусочки, or маленькими кусочками? And at times it might feel that it's impossible to prepare for such detail, and they could basically ask you about anything, but there are a few themes or grammatical points that comes up every time in the exam. So things like perfective versus imperfective, long and short form adjectives, the difference between li, toto, toli. And on the vocabulary side, you need to really know the family of verbs with prefixes. So take, for example, brat. So you need to know when you need to use za brat, vy brat, pri brat. And as I mentioned in the introductory video, this is something that AI can really help you with. So do go and ask AI to give you examples and explanations. And it's really quite accurate as well. Another topic is paronyms. So words that look similar and are actually usually from the same root, but are used in different contexts. So for example, they will ask you to choose the correct word from between дружный, дружественный, дружеский. So yeah, do make sure that you know the paronyms that are the most frequently tested. And I would say that I actually really enjoyed preparing for this part of the exam because I learned a lot, and I really felt that I was kind of mastering the intricacies of Russian. So yeah, do take this opportunity to explore parts of the language that you would never have explored otherwise. So that's all for this video. If you have any specific questions about the reading and grammar sections of the exam, please do let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. Thank you, and see you in the next video.